All right, welcome in to the Bobby Carpenter Show, and it's Suns Out, Guns Out Day. It's a Tuesday, which means we got our guy Bill Bender coming on today, which is very
Richard.
yeah, Mr. Richard Bender, as Schlegs likes to call him. Ryan Day was having a press conference here, and I think it is still presently going on. I had to step away from it, Schlegs. A little post-game, post-spring game, post-portal wrap up. And I don't know if you saw this, Schlegs, that Ohio State, they had four of their walk-ons ultimately enter the portal, but none of their scholarship players entered the portal. Now, I don't know what that looks like across the full spectrum of college football and maybe where that lands, but what does that say to you, the fact that this is the spring portal time and not a single scholarship player got in the portal as of Friday night when it closed?
I'm actually typing that in, Bob, as we speak on the old Google machine. Question mark. So here, but besides even looking at it, it's a testament to the culture. Who leads that? Ryan Day. It's a testament to the culture within the unit rooms. That's the position coaches and assistants. Um, the one thing that I noticed in spring ball, Bob, and you can attest to this, is everybody was getting developed. That has to be spring. There were times, right? It's like, hey, they had pro day and those guys weren't getting reps because they were going to do some stuff on that day. And that allowed other people to get really quality reps. But even in the individual drills, man, when a coach, regardless of where you are in the depth chart, is coaching you as hard as they possibly can, everybody feels like they're getting developed. And those practices are ran as such. And a lot of that is like, is this the best place for me? Can I get developed here? I might not see the field. We all say this, parents say, listen, attention parents and athletes, we talk about export, but development happens at practice, not necessarily the games. Just an FYI. Okay, so these kids feel, because of the relationships, because of the power of the unit, the older guys in the room, they're all getting developed, they're all getting better. And this is the place that I want to go do that. Therefore, you don't have guys that go into the portal. When we all know that you're having, third, fourth, fifth uncles and all these other universities slipping in the DMs saying, come to us, do it for your family, man. Look at all that money on that table. Like, I'm getting developed right here. This is where I want to be. That's what it says. So kudos to Ryan Day, the staff, the veterans in the room, for creating that atmosphere, that culture to where people feel that they're getting developed, competitive excellence. Go Bucks, beat cancer.
So what's even wild about this, though, Schlegs, is
wild out.
Wild out is the fact that you can do all of those things. And you mentioned the third uncle, you mentioned whatever else it might be. You could have guys that, hey, everything seemed good. And then at the end, someone comes in with a 30 pieces of silver, and it's like it's an offer you can't refuse. They offer you the Godfather deal, if you will, Schlegs. And, either A, maybe you try to match it, B, you're going to get that Dear John letter. And so Ryan Day, up until 11:59 on Friday night, I think at 12 o'clock a.m. Eastern is when the portal closed. And so Ryan's sitting there on pins and needles waiting because you have no idea. You think you know, Schlegs. You think you know, but you have no idea, man. I mean, your wife could be stepping out on you. I mean, there could be a bunch of things, like all this stuff that seems good may not be. And so pull this up, Pat, with Ryan, our guy, and his line. He said, I woke up a little bit of headache because it was a long night last night. At first, beer went down cold. After the portal finally closed at midnight, I can tell you that. And I think that that's just the relief. You remember watching him as he kind of like on signing day last year when they're like, JJ, we got his paperwork in. And not that he couldn't just go and hop in the portal then after that when he got here, but that's the commitment. And once you get the guy here, once you develop that relationship, develop that bond, you see him play, you take care of him and compensate him in the requisite manner, you feel like he's going to be good. But don't think, Schlegs, that there's anybody. You heard the Coach Fran up at Syracuse saying, we got a guy, our wide receiver, coming asking for $2 million a year. He's like, I'm not paying any wide receiver $2 million. He's like, that homie's at Ohio State. And that's the reality. And so, hey, he may be worth 2, he may be worth 3. There may be a team that says he's worth 5. And if that happens, then he's got to make that decision. JJ's have to make that decision of, hey, do I stay? Do I go? What does that look like moving forward with me? And is this the place I want to be? Do I try to leverage it for more money? Am I getting paid fairly right now? I can get more somewhere else, but would it help me as much in the totality of my career? And
Or
so
will
you
you,
understand
Bob?
why
Or
Ryan,
will you get it? Or will
well,
you get it?
hold
Maybe
on.
they're just saying that. Go ahead, keep going. I'm sorry.
No, because we'll get to the Jaden Rashada saga in a minute. Because I also want to lean into that with what's up and what's new with him. But you probably don't even know who that is.
I didn't even know that was. I didn't even see it in the
I'll
notes.
explain to you the Jaden Rashada saga, and you'll remember him when I start bringing it up because it's been so long ago now. But that's the reality of what Ryan's dealing with, is that you get a text from JJ's representation, like someone's offering $5 million. Do you up it, what you're offering him, which I don't even know what he's making now? Do you say, hey, beg for him to stay because this is what we've got? Or do you say you can go? And like that's why Ryan at the end of that night, and by the way, Schlegs, that doesn't just happen once a year. It's like basically it's like Passover twice a year. And you're just hoping you got enough lamb's blood on the door to hold it off.
Yeah. That's
The
what's so
angel,
difficult
the
about
portal
this.
angel comes and
Yeah.
decides who he's going to suck out of your program. So you got to get a lot of lamb's blood up there to make sure that you're all good.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna let you go in that saga, but when you were talking all about that, right? It's do they even had it? There was something that we had on the show sheet way back about Coach Mullins going to UNLV and UNLV not even having necessarily the money in the coffers to be able to pay for his entire salary, which we know that coaches' salaries are guaranteed money. And it's like, okay, yeah, we can offer you, but can they pay it? You know, and what does that look like? Like, are there things in writing that they're doing behind channels that it's like, no, this is a legitimate offer. Like, who says it's legitimate? You can go get 3, you can go get 5. Like we saw that with the Nico, like he's making 2.4, he leaves, he makes 1.5 and with significantly more taxes. So his take home pay is significantly less, you know, and then the ramifications of that, like, is the grass always greener? Are there multiple teams that are willing to pay that money for your services? Hey, I need to be getting paid too. No, like the value of your position in college football is to, and there's only one guy in the country that should be making that, and he resides in Columbus, Ohio, right? And the second guy that should make something close to that is also in Columbus, Ohio. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no, know your value. That's just a difficult thing right now, man. And nobody knows what that is. It's not like there's the NFL position where it's like this is the highest paid guy and this is the sec paid guy. And I want to have my contract next to that guy because of my production. There's so many more variables because are you at a group of 5 school? Are you at a power 4 school? Where are you in that? What value do they have on your team for your position? Like that all fluctuates. Just because you think that you are that doesn't necessarily mean that you are, or other communities or other colleges think that you're worth that.
As the kids would say, they think that you're him. You think that you're him. All right. And so we're going to get.
I thought Hims was like
Hims is something
get rocked up.
Regrow your hair. It can harden you up. I mean,
they got all sorts of stuff, huh?
They got all kinds of products, Schlegs. They got a lot of product offerings.
Shampoo because you told me about. Look at this guy. Look how poofy it is this morning.
You're looking nice and thick, man. I mean, I'm trying to.
She said.
I mean, I saw those pictures of Matt McConaughey on there, and it's like,
dude,
that's what we're talking about. Nice thick hair. All right. Because I got a couple of things that I think you're really going to like.
I like them. Keep bringing them. Let's go. Your sleeves are.
Because we got listen, dude.
You got Richard Bender over here. You talking about
him a little bit? Jaden Rashada. You don't know who it is.
No.
Bill knows who Jaden Rashada is, and we'll get his take on this. Jaden Rashada, I don't know if you remember way back, Schlegs, when the NIL was like first coming about, maybe it's second year, third year, whatever, second year probably. Billy Napier was at Florida, the coach of Florida, and they brought in Jaden Rashada as a quarterback. He was the guy who was supposed to be getting $12 million to go there. He got to Florida. It's like, let me tell you the story, because this is all real. At Florida, yes.
This just happened?
No, this happened like 2.5 years ago.
That's close enough to recent. All right, keep going.
Well, yeah, it's because it was NIL. It didn't happen 20 years ago because there wasn't NIL 20 years ago.
Okay, Jaden
Rashada commits to Florida. I think they offer him like basically it's like $12 million is what he's supposed to be getting to go there. Well, I mean, he was supposed to be the man. And so they were going to compensate him as such. Well, they didn't have the money. And so he got there, and like, we take Simone Lebowski, and they didn't have the money for Lebowski, so he had to go. So then he transferred. They let him out of his letter of intent, and he went to Georgia. Now, I'm not sure what he got from Georgia. He may not have gotten anything from Georgia. So he goes to Georgia, and he's there for a year. Leaves Georgia, goes to Arizona State, which was where he was last year, maybe 2 years. I'm trying to remember. He didn't really play all that much. And so as of recently, Schleiks, he just left the portal. And where is he transferring to? Sacramento State. And so this is the guy, ex-Georgia, Arizona, originally Florida commit. Thank you for pulling that up. Well-traveled, announced his latest destination on Instagram. He is going to Sacramento State, Schleiks. I just want you to think about this guy is committed to one school, played at two others, and now going to his fourth. I can't imagine he's getting really much cash. I can't imagine at Arizona State after his first year that he got much cash, because they start looking at it and saying, you're not providing us any value. So if we're not getting any value, why are we going to keep you? Why are we going to keep you here? So like looking at that and trying to understand it, this is one of the issues that you have. And now you have a kid that's been to basically three schools, committed to a fourth over his tenure, and he's ending up at Sacramento State.
Yeah.
He was supposed to have $12 million for his college career. And so people always say, like, you'll get the money, get the bag. I'm like, yeah, well, assuming the bag is there, like you said, Schleiks, their ability to pay. And if you pick the wrong school for the wrong reasons, you can end up like the probably undesirable tale, if you will, of Jaden Rashada.
One, I feel that's a terrible deal. But also, if you're moving around that much, where you're really getting developed, where you really, and that goes back to
like, there's no way he's getting developed. He's on
no,
his
of course
third
he's not.
school, committed to a fourth.
That's what I'm saying. Like, go to a place. This honestly goes to the draft, right? It's the goal of the draft is to go to a place that you're wanted, that wants to invest and develop you, and also, most importantly, in the NFL, that has coaches that want to do that, because they're not all created the same. A lot of them are like, you're a pro, you're ready. Here's what we do. Here's how I do it. You do it as I say, as opposed to like developing, working on it with them. Like there's the haves and have-nots, guys. I'm just letting you guys all know that. So, and I've been around a lot of really good ones in the NFL that were that. And I've been around some that were not. So your point being this, Bob, go to a place that they want you. Go to a place where you're going to get developed. Go to a place that's going to invest in you. And also go to a place that's going to invest in you in life after football.
Place. I don't know if
place
you
was
ever
Florida.
Did you ever go to that place? It's in Boston. I guess it's right outside of Fenway Park, I believe. It's called Cheers.
Yeah,
you want to go
where everybody knows your name.
Everybody knows your name. They're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see that the troubles are all the same. Yeah. All right, Schleiks.
Sometimes I saw a little clip of Cheers with Cliff, and he had a hat drinking whiskey underneath it. It was a good little clip. I liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Buckeyes. Yeah, I got to play that song in my fifth grade talent show. Like, I always had to grow up playing classical music on piano, but I did get to learn Cheers because I always liked it.
You're a good pianist. I always knew that about you.
Oh, I know, Schleiks. I get those soft hands.
Nobody can tickle him like Bobby Carpenter.
We're going to have Bill Bender joining us here in a moment. I want to mention this before we get going. Ryan Day was just announced the Football Writers Association of America. He is the Super 11 Coach of the Year. Schleiks, do you have any? I know what it means because
Super 11.
Yeah.
Look at him.
So Super 11 Coach of the Year means basically you handled the media really well. You were available for him. Your assistants were available. Your players were available. You did a lot of stuff. Ryan has always been more than available to us and me. We're going to get him on the show here before too long. And
why do you got him on? Like, he's like your BFF.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, you vanilla nut tap him every time you see him in the building.
I can't handle you right now. We got Bill Bender coming up right now, and I want to tell you about my friends over at Export.
Tell them about it.
And athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards.
Look at it. I found it in my bag. It's beautiful.
Designed by NHL team dentists, Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber, custom fit to your own unique smile. They 3D print that bad boy right to your grill for more protection, max performance, better comfort, clear communication, so you can focus on the game, not on the gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com and save /Bobby and save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. Bill Bender coming up. Talk a little Jaden Rashada, talk a little Ryan Day, and a lot about the draft on the Bobby Carpenter Show next. All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. And we got our guy, Bill Bender, joining us now.
Let's go.
Bill, a lot of stuff before we get to the draft. The FF or the FA football, what is it? FWA Football Writers Association of America. Ryan Day is getting the Super 11 award. Talk to us a little bit about what that entails, and is that something you voted for?
Yeah, I mean, we have the Super 11. Those are the the SIDs and the university departments that treat us well, and Ryan Day was elected as the Super 11 Coach of the Year. I was part of those discussions, and I think the leading thing, as it says in the article, is, a couple things with Ohio State's media access that stand out is, one, they do very long availability with him, over a half hour. How many coaches are willing to announce or take questions for 40 minutes sometimes from the various outlets at Ohio State? Ohio State's basically an NFL beat, probably larger than some NFL beats in some ways. And he handles that graciously. And I think everything he did from Michigan loss to national championship was gracious. It was handled perfectly. You look at his availability and the way that he handled those press conferences. And Bobby, I've heard you guys both say it, on top of being a really good football coach, he's a great human being. And I think we're proud at the Football Writers Association of America. What is it in dodgeball? I always get it confused with the American Dodgeball Association of America.
Yes.
The same kind of thing. But, it's very important to us. And we're very proud to announce that today at the FWA that Ryan Day is receiving that award.
Yeah, I just beat it. Nobody's on that beat beating it down better than you, Richard. We know that for a fact. Let me ask you a question. What is Super 11?
That's the 11 schools that won that award as well, and it's a very competitive thing.
So there's only like 11 schools that you get to choose from?
Well, I mean, it's among all the schools. We pick 11 schools that did a very good job.
So it's all of Division I, and then
Correct.
You pick 11,
mm-hmm.
and then you pick one.
Well, we pick one coach, and then we pick 11 schools. So if you look at those 11 schools, so the schools this year, I mean, it ranged from Army, Navy, Pitt. They do a very good job with their SIDs and getting us interviews and access. Because like we tell people all the time, and this is a good segue into, the NIL era. Access has become very difficult. It's different than when I started 20 years ago, when athletes have become harder access. Getting real stories and real examples of storytelling is very difficult. I think Ohio State does a good job of keeping their players open and does a good job with their media training, quite honestly. When you get in front of a microphone, you have to be able to talk too. I mean, you guys have been there. Bobby's there all the time. Yeah. How many reporters are on a sideline for an open availability at Ohio State? That's a really good preview for what you're going to see at the next level.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ryan had availability today. Ryan had availability today, Bill, and there was probably 30 chairs set up out there, and he went for at least 25 minutes before we started the show answering questions about spring ball, the portal, the draft, everything that you could, and giving some access before I think they kind of shut it down here at least till midsummer when he gets back, and usually open some stuff back up again. And speaking of storytelling, I know we've talked a little bit about this. Tell us the story now of Shedeur Sanders, because more has come out about how maybe he intentionally tanked some interviews with teams he didn't want to go to. And I guess now you look at that may have come back to bite you a little bit. Just how we landed on where we are right now with this bizarre twists and turns.
Yeah, it's completely bizarre. I think it got really weird on day 2, because I just assumed he would be taken in the second or third round, and then we'd be done with this storyline. But the moment that Jalen Milroe and Dylan Gabriel went ahead of Shedeur Sanders, it kind of, as they say in Spaceballs, went to plaid from there, where we had to wait all the way till the 5th round. You heard the stories and read stories about the interview process not going well. How much of this, do you want to? I may have a different opinion on this. I guess I don't think Deion's as big a deal. Deion has to coach a team in the fall. Deion's not going to be on this. He can't be on an NFL sideline and at the Colorado game at the same time. So, is he going to interfere with the Browns' plan? I don't know. And then, you go to Cleveland here, and what other team was going to draft him at this point, Bobby? When you go Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd, Shedeur in the 5th, you're inviting the circus to town, and I'm sure that's going to happen at rookie minicamp.
Yeah, it's really dicey, especially when you pick the quarterback in the 3rd. Who made that call to draft him in the 5th when you already made a quarterback decision?
Well, yeah, and that was bizarre because Schlegs, it preceded the 6th round quarterback run where we saw Kyle go and we saw Will go. And the mistake I made in my draft projections, and I'll admit it, like I had Shedeur in the 1st round. I had Will and Kyle on day 2. And I had Jalen Milroe in that range as well, like that round 3, round 4 range. So every quarterback, I overvalued every quarterback in this draft. And
do you think?
Go ahead.
Do you think it's the question is like, do you think that they did that because of how good the class could potentially be next year?
No, because how good is the class next year? Other than
I don't know. We thought this class was really good, and they all got undervalued.
No, well, I would look at next year's class and be like, okay, so what do you consider a 1st round pick? If Arch, and this is a completely different subject, Arch Manning might not come out next year, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't, because he would follow the Manning way, so to speak. Peyton Manning played 4 years of college football. Eli played 5. And you can't tell me that the Manning family won't take a peek at the NFL landscape and where he might land with that number 1 pick. If he plays like a number 1 pick, we haven't even seen him really play as a starter. And the other thing, since 1998, I pointed this, I'm going to point this out for the next 365 days. Since 98, when Peyton Manning was drafted number 1, only 2 quarterbacks have been taken number 1 that played 1 season as a starter. And it was Cam Newton, who had maybe the best season ever in 2010, and Kyler Murray. So we're not a slam dunk that Arch Manning will be the number 1 pick next year.
That's a very good piece of analysis right there, Bill. And also, I think if you look around at who's having success in the NFL, it's guys who have played more games in college. So 1 season as a starter, like, wouldn't you rather grab another? You look at obviously Bo Nix, you look at Jaden Daniels, the most recent examples of guys who have had success. And you know what? Maybe they played a little longer in college, but because of that, they were able to ultimately be more pro ready when they got there. When you look at some of these Ohio State picks, is there any one in particular, or a couple that you really like the landing and the destination?
Tyleek, unfortunately, because I'm a Packer, you see the Packers helmet behind me, but when you see Tyleek go to Detroit, great fit on the interior of a team that the run defense slipped a little bit over the last 3 to 4 games. And, when he was that guy in the middle for the Buckeyes, the run defense, when he was healthy especially, the run defense was pretty good. I thought both running backs landed in good spots, with Quinshawn going to Cleveland, being that physical runner, and then Travion landing with Vrabel in New England, where I think he'll be a hit in that offense. And then, was there and I know Pickerington shout out here, obviously, was there an inevitable pick than Jack Sawyer to the Steelers? Unfortunate if you're a Browns or Bengals fan, because he fits exactly what they want to do. One of our friends here in Pickerington showed me a picture that the family sent to them of Jack and the Steelers had, and he was very, very happy about that landing spot. So I think he fits so well there, and will do a good job for Pittsburgh.
Well, go over a little bit. I mean, again, we talked about fits and opportunities, Bill, and I love what the Steelers did, and we've heard about the Arizona Cardinals and Tampa Bay talking about the type of guys that they're getting when they draft Ohio State guys. But like you talked about the Browns, and it's kind of crazy. Tell us a little bit about like Cincinnati, right? You go and you get a guy that has first round potential, not a lot of production, get potentially gone somewhere else. I think probably the best undrafted fit was the fact that they got Seth. They got Seth, an undrafted free agent. I thought he was going to be there, go and get drafted. He's a Remington Award winner. But tell us a little bit about Cincinnati, about the Who Day.
Yeah, Shamar is an interesting pick, and the problem there is you want to see the production come with it. They drafted on potential a little bit there, and Cincinnati had a draft that you would expect out of a team that spent a ton of money on two receivers in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So they went with some interior line guys and went with Shamar, and they've got to get better on that side of the ball. But I wasn't blown away or disgusted by Cincinnati's draft. I thought they were just pretty solid. Probably right in the middle of what we would call a big draft there, or a great draft. It was probably just somewhere in the middle.
It really was. That's taking a step back with Jack Sawyer, the addition of Will Howard there. And I almost say the inevitability of Aaron Rodgers. It looks like he's probably going to land there. But it seems, the Jack and Will fit together in Pittsburgh, and we'll get the chance to kind of learn and be underneath maybe Aaron for a year or two. Like it seems, and he seems like a Pittsburgh type of quarterback as well. He's a Pennsylvania kid, maybe a little bit closer to Philly. He's a 484 area code, but that seems like another one that seems like a very Pittsburgh Steeler-esque pick.
Yeah, and the other part of that, it sneaks up on you. I always forget this, and I've been in the media room around him. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Big Ben was the same size. Like I maybe I have it in my head that like Big Ben was 6'10" or something, but Will Howard, same body dimensions, can learn. Now, I do think that if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers, that's a good case scenario for Will, because if you maybe sit behind him for a year, he could potentially be a starter for Pittsburgh within a year or two. If they have to do the move where Aaron Rodgers, for some reason, which is entirely possible, decides not to play, and then your quarterback room is Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, Will Howard, there will be some bumps for Pittsburgh, who's trying to keep up with Baltimore. I know we talked about that yesterday, Bobby. Baltimore just doesn't miss on draft picks, and Cincinnati. So, but I think Will Howard also landed in a great spot for development. Pittsburgh does a good job with quarterbacks. And again, the Big Ben comparison in some ways is apt because, the body type, the intangibles, the leadership skills.
All right. We'll take a quick break here. We're going to come back with more Bill here in a moment, because I want to get into the Jada Rashada story and a couple more draft questions we got. So stay locked in here for Bill Bender on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, welcome back to the Bobby Carpenter Show. Please, if you're watching on Twitter, or X, I guess, YouTube, whatever, please like, subscribe, leave your comments. We love to get after them and be able to answer them for you. Bill, one of the other big slides in the draft, I know he was a little bit injured his senior year, Will Johnson out of Michigan. I thought when he was available at the top of the second round that he would have been one of the first 2 or 3 picks off the board. Slid, I think, down to around somewhere between 8 and 11 right there, before ultimately going to Arizona, where Denzel Burke went later in the draft. So I think they got 2 really good value picks at corner. But were you surprised to see a guy who in 2023, I thought he was one of the best corners in college football, last that long?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him play at a very high level. against Marvin Harrison and against other elite receivers. So it was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, the knee injury concern is very real. We see that every year in the draft. You do see a guy tumble that, whether it's real or not, when that injury concern gets reported, other teams tend to follow suit. I think he's a solid corner when he was on the field. One of the things, though, last year in particular, there was that waiting game of him every week of, is he going to be back this week? Is he going to be back? I remember even leading up to the Ohio State game, it was like he was questionable for the rest of the season. So I do think he'll have to prove that. I like the landing fit for Denzel Burke, too. Chance that he had an up and down career at Ohio State. He took some criticism, but I thought he got better last year. And the value probably isn't what maybe he wants, but he's still on an NFL roster and will have a chance to compete for playing time.
Hey, let me ask you this real fast. And then, Bob, I want you to go to that story. Hugh going to Cleveland, because normally we see completely different styles of running backs going with each other, right? Now that, like him and Chubb, more similar. Why do you think so? Why do you think that is that they draft him in the second round?
Well, maybe they believe that Nick Chubb might not be back, right? And that's one theory. And Quinshawn has a physical style. And one of the things he showed more of that you need at the NFL level. So it's kind of like when an NFL running back is a rookie, it's three things to me. One, yeah, you got to be able to run between the tackles. Two, can you catch the ball out of the backfield? He showed that, especially in the championship game. And three, pass pro. So you have to be a combination of all of those things to get on the field. And Quinshawn had a really good track record from Ole Miss all the way through Ohio State last year. And again, and I wonder if Buckeyes are going to set a trend here where Travion and Quinshawn, it was both unselfish what they did to share the workload. And it also preserves their tires a little bit longer for the NFL level. It's a slam dunk for both of those guys. And I think what a model to follow for other teams when you can have both running backs do what they do.
Yeah, what's amazing is, like, you look at Quinshawn's load early in his career at Ole Miss. I mean, he's getting 300 plus touches a season. And this year, yeah, they pull that way back, and him and Trey are able to split and save some of the tread on their tires. You know, Bill, we talk a lot, and Ryan was having, on a line about him, having his first cold beer at, 12:01 on Friday night after the portal closed. And Ohio State had no scholarship players enter the portal. And I can only imagine when you have Jeremiah Smith and you think you've got a great relationship with the guy, but you never know what type of text you could be getting at 11 o'clock saying, we need another $1 million, or we're going to go here. Or maybe it's just a Dear John letter saying, thanks for everything, and I'm moving on. Jaden Rashada, I think, was one of the big stories of early in the NIL, and maybe a cautionary tale, Bill. He commits to Florida under Billy Napier under the guise of like $12 million. It doesn't happen. He goes to Georgia. He's there briefly. He goes to Arizona State. And now he just announced that he's going to be going to Sacramento State. So kind of a precipitous drop, each and every move. And I know that this is what you do. I mean, you write pieces, long form. I feel like probably every year now you'll be able to build the cautionary tale of the 5-star guy who makes 2 or 3 bad decisions to maybe take the easier road than try to stick it out and chase the money rather than opportunity. And ultimately you look back 4 or 5 years later and it's like, well, you never really played anywhere. And at the end of your career, you're kind of limping out of college football.
For sure. And the Rashada story has so many turns. It starts with a botched NIL deal with Florida, which leads that he committed to Arizona State. Doesn't go well at Arizona State. He ends up at Georgia. Has an active lawsuit. Can you imagine if a Ohio State quarterback had an active lawsuit against a Michigan coach during the season? Because that happened last year. He had a lawsuit against Billy Napier while playing for Georgia, and then he transfers to Sacramento State. And it kind of circles back. I know we've talked a lot the last couple of weeks about Nico, and your name can be associated with that. When Jaden Rashada goes and tries to play in the NFL, that is going to be what he's associated with, this botched NIL deal, that cautionary tale, whatever you want to call it. And maybe he goes and balls out at Sacramento State. Who knows? They're trying to get into the FBS next year. But again, another reminder that this sport at its messiest is pretty bad. And if you get yourself in that kind of situation, he probably has himself to blame some, but also he may have listened to the wrong people along the way.
Hey, real quick, this draft, quarterbacks especially, people stay in longer. I mean, we saw Quinn Ewers could potentially have gotten $8 million. He got 800,000. Shedeur could have had another year, like the highest NIL value. And obviously, we've seen, right? Bobby talked about it earlier. The longer you stay in, the more ball that you have, the more success you can have at the next level. Do we see that where guys like, I ain't going out, I can make more money staying and playing in college?
For sure. I think Cam Ward won the Manning Award this year, and Archie Manning was quick to say at that ceremony that it's pretty clear that Cam benefited from that one more year in college. Cam could have came out after 2 years at Washington State, and he probably would have been drafted on day 3, but he stays at Miami, has a fantastic season, great kid off the field, and there you go. Jaden Daniels. Now, I'll be the first to admit, Schlegs, that I didn't think Jaden Daniels would be that good last year in the NFL, but he clearly had played a lot of college football between Arizona State and LSU, and it paid off. So I'm hoping that's the trend, because that means we get to see these quarterbacks be successful and have stories like Will Howard did. And you could make a really strong argument that Kyle McCord going to Syracuse, being able to say he won 10 games at Ohio State and 10 games at Syracuse, was really good for his career, because he'll stick on the Eagles roster.
All right, wow, somebody asked him why they drafted him, Bill. One of the people in the chat like, ask Bill why the Eagles took Honda McCord. I don't call him that. They did. That was from Phil J. Quick, 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, accurate, broke the ACC passing record, and I thought he had a really good season and has played a lot of big-time football. So aside from the Pitt game last year, really good season.
Absolutely. Bill, we appreciate your time. Far too much of it today. Thank you for being so gracious. As always, look forward to catching up with you again next week.
Hey, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for having me on.
That's our guy, Bill Bender, the Sporting News. Give him a follow at BillBender_92. Does some great stuff that he puts out there all the time for the Sporting News. I want to tell you about our friends over at Backer, the new sporting apparel stuff, the premium sporting apparel for Buckeyes right there. Boom. You get the sweet hat. They've got the sweet coats. Their stuff's high grade. It's as good as you're going to find. It's like the elite hunting, skiing, fishing gear, the golfing gear that's out there that's really nice. It feels good. It looks good. It may cost a little more. If you go to Backer, it's bckr.com, and you order it from there. A portion of those proceeds are going to go back to Ohio State student athletes. So you're supporting the program as well and getting some of the great gear that you need. And here's the best part. Use promo code Bobby, all caps. And with that, then you're going to get free expedited shipping. So listen, Mother's Day is coming up, and get some gear for Mother's Day. Listen, anybody out there, get some gears for fathers coming up here in June. It's all there for you. They got great stuff all over the place. So go check them out. Coming up next, we got our headlines. All right, Schlegs, here we are with our headlines. Our headlines are brought to you from our friends over at Lake Spur Marketing. Lake Spur Marketing is a full-service marketing agency built on trust, strategy, and performance. They do a great job. They're going to shield your team from the unnecessary outside noise because, as you always say, Schlegs, it's hard to work in the business and on the business. They let you do what you do best. They've got over 100 years of marketing experience. Lake Spur Marketing eliminates the waste. They deliver on budget. They don't chase clicks. They build partnerships. Lake Spur Marketing, the proof is in the partners. By the way, what are you doing over there that makes that noise? Well, like, I'm talking and I hear like pounding, hammering. Are you throwing
I'm ad-libbing while you do the reads. Like I'm being animated. I'm like the visual effects to what it is that you're reading off. That's what I'm doing. And I was like, I was blocking the spam callers, shield the boom, hang them up. Right? That's what I was doing.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I had 2 hours of sleep. I'm delusional. I had like 30 packs of nicotine today.
Good, block bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's circular. Every time you, what was the one that earlier? I don't know. It's circular. It's around. That's what I like. I don't know. Yeah, all good things, Bob. Everybody love everybody.
It's too much. All right, let's throw up the apology to Dion. He's more or
I thought you wanted me to apologize to you about my behavior, which is great. I was like, sure, I love you guys.
Behavior is ridiculous. The apology, though, to Shedeur Sanders. And
okay,
Adam Schefter put this out. It's by the defensive coordinator's son.
This is amazing.
Well, and he's just saying, I apologize for being selfish. You know, his dad's been through the ringer. He was interim coach for the Jets last year after Robert Saleh gets fired, Ulbrich, and then he gets picked up by the Falcons, leaves his iPad open. His son's like, hey, and I could see myself doing this if I was just
100. You would have done that, Bob. You were a turd bucket. You would have done it if you had it right there.
Is that really you're
I
saying?
know how you
100%?
would have done it. I know you would have. I'm like, dude, that's a guy like me. You'd be like, I'm like, bro, that's a guy's career. Like, dude, it's gonna be hysterical. And then I would just like walk outside. I would have just walked outside, smoked like a Blackie mild.
Yeah,
but I would have laughed at you. I would have laughed at you when you did it.
At this point in my life, I would like to think that I wouldn't have done it.
No, you wouldn't have done it, Bob. I was just joking with you.
I don't know about that, Schlegs. Like, I mean, there's a lot of bumpiness and things that I got involved with then. One other thing I want to get into our headlines, because I think this is very important. And we talked about Will Johnson going to the Cardinals. Also, Denzel Burke going to the Cardinals. And he goes there in the 7th round. And it's not where you're picked. I think it's when you're picked. It's kind of where you go. And Denzel Burke has had to face some of the best receivers in college football day in and day out. Maybe didn't have the greatest year. He had some injury stuff that he was battling, but he's going to be with the Cardinals. I think he's going to make the team. I think he's going to be a productive player on that team with this. Can we throw up I said nobody and actually, why don't we even read it? Let's just go straight from their coach's mouth. If you click over, you can hear their Arizona's Monty Ossenfort talk about their GM talk about Denzel Burke playing at Ohio State.
He said it when we were in there, like, nobody's had to have a tougher assignment in practice the last 4 years than Denzel Burke, the guys he's had to cover in practice. I mean, holy smokes. I mean, we said it when we were in there, like,
yeah, holy smokes.
Holy smokes.
Holy smokes, Batman.
Holy smokes.
I don't even know. I just threw that in there. But I'd say this, guys, like there's a lot of teams, and we talked about the girthiness of this draft of prospects. Biggest thing is like Denzel's from there. He's going to make it. I think he's going to do really well. Sometimes you need a reset. And again, like he had one game, and like unfortunately that game carries with you. In the playoffs, I thought he did really well. So it's like, he can bounce back. This goes into the thing that we talked about last year. Like, are you a 1st or 2nd round guy? Do you go out? Are you? I don't even know, because we saw so much, this disparity between what a 1st rounder and what a 5th rounder look like. Yeah, you don't even freaking know. Like, so do you go? Do you stay? Do you, add things? Do you play when you're hurt? We talked about it yesterday. Denzel's going to be fine, man. Because you know what, though? Here's the thing. Denzel knows how to compete. So I'll bet on Denzel.
I like that. I'll bet on Denzel too. He matured a lot in his last 2 years at Ohio State. And
yeah, he is.
Him and Trey both are great examples of guys who come in, play really well as freshmen. Things kind of spiral a little bit. Maybe don't go the way you'll think your career is going to go. And then both of them, Schlegs, they were able to pull out of that jet wash and able to regain altitude to a safe flying distance. All right, coming up. So we've got our tailgate talk brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. Answer your questions. Ryan Day answered a bunch of questions today. We'll talk a little bit about those. And folks, throw them in the chat if you want. We'll get those answered and get those rocking for you here coming up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, Schlegs, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. It's
good to be here, Bob.
We answer your questions. I think the folks, someone was asking
bring
about
your truck to life.
Troy, yeah, we'll bring your truck to life at realtruck.com. I just got, by the way, I got my winch hooked up. My winch has been on the bumper. I went and I ran it underneath, ran it up through the motor, got it hooked on or through the engine, got it hooked. Used some zip ties where I needed to, but I got it hooked up to the battery. So listen, I'm going to come over. I'm going to get my Jeep and put it on your truck and then pull your truck away.
It sounds amazing. Do it.
Yeah. I mean, you've got your winch, but you didn't put yours on yourself.
It's like
yours came on there.
No, I put it on there, bro.
You put that whole bumper on, even with the sensors.
100%. No, you said the winch. I had somebody put the bumper on there because I had to cut some of my wheel well because it went way up in there. Chevys are really boxy on the wheel wells, and I wanted some bigger tires, so they had to, I got some more turning radius out of my road armor on there.
Okay, all right, well, fair enough. Yeah, you're out of control with all of this.
You just want to play touch wenches. I get it. I'm not about that life, Bob.
Yeah,
Okay.
no sleep slugs is hilarious. The next question is, when are you flying down to Jacksonville for Hunter's next game?
Yeah, tomorrow night at like 9.
Oh, I'll take the night.
I connect. Yeah, I connect. Probably won't make it.
What do you mean? Why are we having this negative attitude, Slugs? I got
no,
on.
no. I will. I'll drive there. No, I'll drive.
On a red eye. I was half lit. I got on that red eye in the exit row, and I looked at that lady. I pulled my sleep mask down, and she pulled the flight attendant pulled it up. She goes, "I got to do the emergency row seat check before you fall asleep right now."
Yeah.
And I woke up.
Yes.
I got to Atlanta, and I got to my plane, and I got to my final to be able to give it to the kids on time. Think positive thoughts, Schlegs.
I am super positive. No. I'm burning the candle at both ends. All gas, no brakes. Charge it to win it. Buckeyes. Give us a question, Bob.
Okay. Oh goodness. The question was asked to Ryan about bringing is it Atkins, I think, the defensive end from North Carolina, and he brought him in, and people are asking, "Are you still looking for D tackles?" He's like, "We're looking," but he goes, "Number one, you've got to bring in guys that are better than the guys you have, or why would you bring them in? And number two, you want to bring in guys who are going to be a fit for you." And so I think that as everybody wants to see this, don't necessarily need to be hasty with it, do you?
No. And we're not talking like a fit and like people scissoring each other. We're talking about, do they buy into the culture? Do they buy into the competitive excellence? Do they buy in the fact that, they're going to take coaching? I personally, when it comes to the portal, I like what we did on the offense line, but I would rather have somebody that's obviously, it's kind of dicey, man. It's like, here's the question for all you guys. Put this in the chat. Do you want a guy that is a little bit longer in the tooth that has like 1 or 2 years left, or you want a guy that potentially has 3 left and there's significantly more room for development, but also maybe potentially has a higher price tag because of what they were out of high school? I kind of want to lean to show me the proof. Now, if they have a really good sample size of things that they did, and you bring them in, and they also know that they're coming here that could have gotten more money somewhere else, but they see your value, honestly, that's the guy that you want to go after. In my honest opinion, go after the guy that sees the value of Ohio State, the development, the competitive excellence, and what it can do for you. Those are the guys that you want. If it's like a bidding war, don't be in that. We don't no, we got to figure it out in a different capacity, but find that guy.
Find that guy. You heard it here from Schlegs. All right, We're going to get some parting thoughts up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. Winch Wars, Schlegs. There you go. I'm going to leave you with
just the hook.
Just the hook. We're going to, because I had to go. My 8th grade daughter is harassing me about going and signing her out of school because they have testing and she's done and all her friends left. So whatever. So I got to go do that. I'm going to leave you with this thought, Schlegs, because I heard you hop on Bo's show. I didn't hear you. I heard about you hopping on, I think, yesterday with this.
Morning Juice is gone, Bob. Guess what? I'm not going to be that, so I'll be on that one. Buckeyes.
You can still get on the stream with me.
Well, we all know that you have a strong stream, Bob. We all know. Good for you. Good prostate.
Good. Very frothy, healthy prostate. You've checked it for me many times, which is a friendly thing. So I appreciate that. Your commitment to excellence and your hashtag brotherhood.
You're good.
Hashtag brotherhood, Schlegs. But the 100 men versus the gorilla. Yeah. And we're going to have to get into that tomorrow because there's so much there.
Yeah. So deep. Guys, they got such a low center of gravity. Honestly,
hold on. No, I just want to listen. We'll lay it out because another thing too is, and I've asked this, just look at the frame of a gorilla. All right. Just these are normal dudes. We're not talking like high grade, highly trained athletes, fighters, or anything. Look at the size of that head. I want you to know, for you to kill the gorilla, you're either gonna have to stop its heart or cut its head off. It's gonna have to bleed to death or get its head cut off. I'm not sure, even with a 25% casualty rate, Schlegs, how we'll do that. So we'll dive into that tomorrow. So believe me, stay locked in. We got a lot more. We'll break some more down at that Ryan Day press conference. Schlegs might be out of his mind even more tomorrow, but it'll be a fun show for you. I promise you that. So we'll talk.
AJ's on, right?
Yeah, and AJ, Wednesdays are for AJ. So we'll see. And he might be the hawk versus the gorilla. That might be the question in the island of Dr. Moreau, how they morph into people and what happens. But stay tuned here tomorrow. We'll break that down for you on the Bobby Carpenter Show.